So as most of you guys probably know, Jailbreak has a bunch of limited vehicles, and a lot of those limited vehicles are retired vehicles that were replaced by better versions of them. And so seeing as Jailbreak doesn't really have any more vehicles that could be retired in the near future, I thought that now would be a good time to take a look at all of these retired vehicles and see if they are as good as they were back when they were still in the game. So with that, let's not waste any more time and let's get into this. So starting with a classic, we have the Bruley or the Bugatti Veyron. It was replaced by the Chiron in March 2020. Bruley is also the fastest car in the game, but unfortunately the acceleration isn't that good, so you can't really reach the top speed, unfortunately, but still really cool. Yeah, there's not much else to say about the Bruley. It's probably one of the most iconic vehicles in Jailbreak history. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much it. But now moving on to the next retired vehicle, probably the only retired vehicle I wish was revamped instead of retired, and it is the Mighty, the Mini Cooper. The Mini Cooper costed $25,000 back in the day, and it was removed with the Veyron back in 2020. It's a very small car, which makes it easy to go in between buildings and, get away from cops. The model of it isn't really that bad at all. In fact, it's probably one of the best looking retired vehicles. The top speed is about 130 miles per hour, which is pretty good for $25,000. That's really good actually. Unfortunately, the Mini Cooper was probably one of the most forgotten vehicles back in the day as well, so not many people knew about it because it was kind of hidden away in the corner of the town. But yeah, other than that, pretty decent vehicle. Now, our next retired vehicle is the Megalodon, or the McLaren, as most OG players would call it. The Megalodon was removed with the SUV in July 2020. And the Megalodon was also known for being really expensive at $300,000, but really slow for some reason, and it was really slow until just recently. And for the time the Megalodon was created, the model of it looks really nice. The Megalodon also had quite a good spawn location right beside the city, which made it so that new players could easily find it. And overall, I think that the Megalodon is a pretty good vehicle. Obviously, it was pretty bad when it was retired, but ever since it got buffed last year, it's been much better, and the top speed is absolutely amazing now. So if you're looking for a cheap vehicle in trading, definitely go for the Megalodon because it's super cheap, yet super good. Now, our next retired vehicle is a fun one. It's the SUV. The SUV costed $40,000 back when it was still in the game, and it was removed with the Megalodon in July 2020. It had 2 spawn points, one in the city police station and one at the prison. And yeah, overall, the SUV was a pretty decent vehicle. Obviously, it wasn't the best in the game, but it was a pretty good vehicle for the price back in the day. And I'm quite happy that it was replaced by the Interrogator because the Interrogator was just a great replacement in my opinion. Now on to our next retired vehicle, the Classic. Classic was $50,000 and spawned at the museum, and it was removed at the start of 2022 with the museum revamp. There's not really much to be said about the Classic. It was overall a pretty decent vehicle. It was one of the mid-range vehicles in the game. I will say though that the Classic is quite a unique car. It's one of the only older cars we have in the game. The looks on the Classic is also a 10 out of 10 because I just really like the model of it. But yeah, other than that, there's not much to say about the Classic. It's a pretty decent car. I'm kind of okay with it being removed because, not many people used it anyways, but still pretty cool car. Our next retired vehicle though is the Steed or the Mustang. Just like the Classic, it costed $50,000. It used to spawn at the gun shop in the town before it was removed in March 2020 with the Veyron and the Mini Cooper. And just like most of the other retired vehicles, the Mustang isn't really too special. It's one of those mid-range vehicles and there's not much to be said about it. While the model of the Steed or the Mustang is quite nice, I like the model, the performance on the vehicle is just not really that good. But other than that, the Steed is a pretty decent vehicle. It's not the best, but it's also not really the worst. But if it was still available to purchase, I probably wouldn't recommend it because it's just kind of there to fill up your inventory. And now the Porsche. The Porsche costed $70,000 and spawned right in front of the museum before it was removed. Porsche was replaced in November 2020 with the Boxer, and I believe the Boxer is actually the same price as the Porsche, which is quite cool. Anyways, the Porsche I believe was pretty much the only convertible car in the game at that time, and it was one of the coolest cars in the game. Obviously, it wasn't the fastest car, but it was still really cool, and it used to be one of my favorite cars, and I used to drive it pretty much all the time. One downside to the Porsche though is you're pretty exposed and cops could pretty much just tase you straight out of the car, so that's kind of a downside, but chances they're going to do that is pretty low as well, so it's not really going to happen. But overall, I give the Porsche about a 7.5 out of 10. It's a really nice car. It used to be one of my favorites, but you know, it could always be better, and the model of it wasn't really that good, so I'm glad it got replaced by a better version. And now our final retired vehicle, the Airtail. You all know what the Airtail is. It's probably one of the best cars in the game right now, honestly. The model of it is very nice. It looks really good in my opinion. I love it. The speed, the acceleration, all those stats are really good. The value in trading could be a little bit higher, but you know, it's kind of a good thing that it's low, because then new players could get it for cheap, and then we have more people using it, which I guess is kind of a good thing. It also has 3 seats, which is pretty nice. That's helpful if you have friends playing with you. And overall, it's a very good car, and if you have the items in trading to get it, I definitely recommend it, because it's probably one of the best cars that you could get right now. But yeah, those are pretty much all of the retired vehicles in Jailbreak. Make sure to let me know down below in the comments what you guys think is the best retired vehicle in Jailbreak. I think it's probably the Airtail, because it's just one of the best looking, and it's also really nice in terms of performance. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much it for this video. Hope you've all enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one.